what's really growing in May in my Northern Illinois garden. Welcome to Planting Joy Garden. It is time for a garden tour, and I want to share what I'm actually growing here in May in my Zone 5B 6A garden. Let's start with the new addition. So first up, I started a herb garden and also a tea garden. So here I have chocolate mint. It's a new transplant. I picked up little pieces from all over the yard and decided I would give it a permanent home. I'm also growing some lemon balm here, lavender, and chamomile. And as you can see, the lavender is getting ready to flower. Now, I still have cool nighttime temperatures, but my day temperatures are wonderful. Here I have oregano with onions, and I'm in a long day area, so I'm starting to get bulbing here on my onions. Now I want to share some of the ornamentals. I consider my garden to be a kitchen garden. I started off with growing ornamentals, and I quickly realized the need to add food, edible things to my garden. So I've had this hosta here. These are huge hostas. They really need to be split down, but I have frogs, and this is where they live, and they need cover from predators. So I leave them as they are. Occasionally I'll thin them out every 3 years. Okay, here I have my autumn joy sedums. They keep this nice ball shape until late summer, fall, and then they bloom a beautiful red color. I do have some ornamentals here. I have my ferns, and these are ostrich ferns, and I try my best to control the growth. I also keep a rock path in here just for additional hiding places for frogs. Have some more hostas, ornamental daylilies, and I have this nice, lovely stand of ferns, and it's actually chest height on me, and I have it going all the way down. And this is part of my original garden. I will never get rid of them because I get a lot of water shed from the side of my house, from my gutters, and ferns can handle the water as well as hostas. So this is kind of like a shade garden. I also have my rose here. This is a beautiful red rambling rose bush. Um, I noticed it came out of dormancy a little early, so I do have some yellowing on the leaf. To be proactive, I fed it some rose food. I made sure that there was iron available. Lack of iron, particularly with rose bushes, can cause some yellowing of the leaves. But many of my friends who have roses, we all live in different areas, are having the same problem. They also noticed that their roses came out of dormancy, and then we had a super long, hard freeze after they came out of dormancy. Here I have some additional herbs mixed in with my ornamentals. I have a beautiful yarrow, and it blooms a beautiful fuchsia pink color. I also have some lovely chives, and they are going to flower. I do like for mine to go to flower. It will disperse seeds all over the yard, but that's okay with me. Hiding here in the corner, if I didn't mention it, this is an Emperor Wu hosta, and these white trim variated hostas, these are Patriot hostas. Now here is my Annabelle hydrangea. It will grow about 3 feet tall and 4 feet wide, and it has not put out any blooms yet, but it will bloom dinner plate size white flowers. Now this is my new herb bed. So I have a herb bed, and I also have a tea herb bed. So here I have thyme coming in. This one is my lemon thyme. I have celery here, rosemary, sage. I have additional lavender, and it's just getting ready to bloom. Now I planted some marigolds, but I believe these look more like cosmos. So let me know, do you think it's a marigold or a cosmo? And here I have a French thyme. Now in this bed, because it's not on drip, I did put in Oyas. This Oya will water my celery because celery tends to like moist soil. All of the other herbs like dry conditions. Okay, so now we're going to cross over. Here is my onion bed, and we planted this together. The onions are doing great. They're really starting to size up and get a little girth. And as you can see here, we're starting to bulb. So I'm very excited about that. All of the onions are doing pretty well. It is also on drip here. I also went ahead and planted a cherry tomato. Now, my experience with cherry tomatoes is they are really tolerant. Generally, it takes a frost to knock them out. So I felt comfortable starting my cherry tomato. And as you can see, it has a blossom despite having cool nighttime temperatures. Volunteer cherry tomatoes coming up in this bed. Now, this bed is also growing garlic here, some additional onions. I have carrots, bunching onions. Now the bunching onions are going to flower. These are Tokyo long bunching onions, and I'm going to allow them to flower and drop seeds. Okay, and here's how my carrots are doing. And you can see right over here, volunteer cherry tomato, and here, volunteer cherry tomatoes. So if the temperature was great enough for the volunteers, is great enough for planting out the actual tomatoes. I also have marigolds dispersed throughout this bed to provide some pest protection and some biodiversity. So from my onion bed, let's take a look at my first green stalk. Now this green stalk, and I will open this all open, I am growing Swiss chard and some sage there. Now I'm growing Swiss chard. This is 100% Ford hook. I didn't care about fancy colors, variety. I just wanted a dependable Swiss chard because I am growing for production this year. I am not growing for looks, for vanity, or for curiosity. I'm growing for pure production, and Ford hook is a dependable Swiss chard for me. So all tiers are planted with the Swiss chard. There are different stages of development because I did initial planting, waited 2 weeks, then did an additional planting. So that is my Swiss chard tower. Now we are going to take a look at my spinach. So let me open this up, and I have everything under cover because I have a small garden and my goal is to have high yields. So this is my beautiful Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. So it's doing wonderful here in the month of May. Isn't that beautiful? Here are my southern curly mustards, and they're just now starting to curl. The leaves are beautiful. They have a nice tenderness to them. So just absolutely wonderful. Okay, now let's take a look at my other green stalk. I'm growing beautiful onions here on the top, and they are also getting some girth to them. I'm also growing some strawberries. Now, I have lost a lot of strawberries. So my plan is after the onions come out, I will allow the runners into the pockets where there were onions and try to fill out some of my strawberries again. Now, I am in a cold zone And this may not be the best way to grow strawberries. I will try again. I have them in the deeper pockets. I do have a few in the leaf size pockets here. I still have two in leaf size pockets. These are the shallow pockets. So I think if I transplant them into the larger pockets as they empty, I could probably do a better job of overwintering my strawberries. Okay, now for a look at my other tower. So those are the three towers, 1, 2, 3. And this other tower here is a leaf tower. So I'm actually growing leafy greens here. I'm growing them there and also here. So as you see, I have lettuce that really needs to be harvested again. So we'll take some in for a salad, and that way we can keep this healthy. And here's a few leaves we can add to this. This is actually black seeded Simpson lettuce, and it's going all the way around. I recently planted seeds for additional turnips, so these two tiers have been seeded for turnips. These two, I'm growing the turnips for the leaves. Down here, there's 1 or 2 plants per pocket, and I'm growing these turnips on this level. I'm growing them for the roots, so they're not as dense. Okay. Down on this lower level, I have some bolted celery here. Correction, this is bolted cilantro. When cilantro goes to seed, you get wonderful coriander. And I will be harvesting this for the seeds. Have some additional onions, and I think I'm going to have to trim these onions because the netting is causing a lot of damage to the leaves. So I'm just going to trim those back. I have some curly blue kale that I've been harvesting from, and it's doing just great. It's time to harvest again. I have some celery here. I like to kind of spread things across my yard in different places just in case a pests come in. And I have some younger lacinato kale here. Okay, here I'm growing potatoes. So I have red Norlands growing here. I have a bed of red Norlands growing here. I have my trellis that I plan to grow pole beans, but it's just too cool at night. I'm waiting for some 50-degree nights to start my pole beans. That there are no pole beans, no pepper, and no basil in my garden as of yet. So this is the bed where I intend to plant out my peppers and my basil. I'm going to put additional pole beans to go up and over this trellis. And I have additional red Norland potatoes here. And as you can see, everything has broken ground and we will be having potatoes soon. Here's what a Zone 5B6A garden really looks like in May. So here's a quick glance around the garden. It's a small garden. I'm gardening roughly 25 feet by 25 feet. It is an ornamental garden that I have slowly turned into a full kitchen garden with the production of herbs and vegetables. And as you can see at the current time, I have no flowers simply because it's still too cool. So thank you for joining me in the garden. If this video was informative or helpful in any way, please hit the like button, consider subscribing, and have an amazing day. Thank you.